So let's go way back to 2020, and I can't believe that 2020 was actually 2 years ago. It felt like just yesterday, but let's go way back to 2020 when Jacob Markstrom signed a 6-year, $36 million contract with the Flames that had all the fans in Calgary delighted. And to be fair, they had every right to be delighted. This was the best goalie in the free agency, which speaks volumes considering who was in there. We had Robin Lehner, of course Markstrom himself, Khudobin, Talbot, Lundqvist, Holtby, amongst others. The 2020 free agency was just filled with veteran goaltenders, but not only was Markstrom a great goalie himself, it had to be relief for the Flames fans considering that they never really had a true concrete tattooed number one goaltender in ages. They had Talbot, they had Mike Smith, David Rittich, but they never were truly their number one goalie. Then in his first season with the Flames, which was the 2020-21 shortened season, he kind of killed the hype, honestly. That season, he produced a rather dull 2.68 goals against average along with a .904 save percentage, and people had their doubts about whether this signing was going to come to fruition or not, but then we fast forward to the 2021-22 season and our worries are over. Those numbers we were just talking about a minute ago or so drastically improved as he had a career best 2.22 goals against average paired with a .922 save percentage and led the entire league with a whopping 9 shutouts and 63 games played. Isn't that kind of crazy to think how basically 1/7 of all the games played this year by Markstrom were shutouts? That fraction of shutouts is actually higher than Igor Shesterkin, the guy who won the Vezinas, if we do the math. And Markstrom's amazing stats that year got him a nod to be in the contention for the Vezina Trophy as he would be a finalist, so based on that, anyone would think that this guy could be great to maybe go for a cup run given Calgary's gargantuan offense in guys like Gaudreau, Tkachuk, Lindholm, right? Well, let's just talk about the playoffs a bit first. The Flames were playing the Dallas Stars in the first round, and Markstrom had pretty good numbers in that really tight series. It went 7 games, but the Flames hung on. The journey started to get shaky in the second round against their bitter rival in the Edmonton Oilers. The Flames got whooped in 5 games, and the Oilers went on to the Western Conference Finals. And now a lot of people, especially Flames fans, could excuse this saying, Dallas Stars don't have a Connor McDavid or a Leon Draisaitl, so why would you expect his numbers to be any better? Well, yes, that is definitely true, but the Flames didn't have a bad team at all. They're playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs where the game is completely different and anything can happen. I can definitely agree that Markstrom was obviously challenged here, but recording a 512 goals against average and an 852 save percentage is just absurd, and as you would imagine, Flames fans were getting frustrated at Markstrom. There was a really good chance for this team to win considering the Oilers didn't perform so great in round 1 either against the LA Kings, who were heavy underdogs. Now here we are in the 2022-23 season and the frustrations are still here. And I won't lie, it is hard to support Markstrom when you see the stats. The Calgary Flames are good this year. They are in first place in the Pacific Division with a 3-1-0 record as they just lost their first game of the season to Buffalo on Thursday, which is why we're having this conversation about Markstrom. If the team is scoring goals and winning games, but the goaltender who was a Vezina finalist last year had let in 8 goals off of 50 shots as of the timing of this recording, something is definitely wrong. So let's just talk about that game versus Sabres specifically, and just by the way, this is being recorded on Saturday, October 22nd, around 1 a.m. Eastern Time, so much before the Flames game against the Carolina Hurricanes, but taking only the game against the Buffalo Sabres on October 20th, let's emphasize on his poor play a bit. Buffalo won 6-3 here, where Alex Tuch had a hat-trick, Vinny Hinostroza had 3 assists, and Rasmus Dahlin continued his goal streak. I will definitely be making a video about that as well, and Markstrom got pulled. But with Markstrom, he was actually doing pretty decent. I mean, the Flames are winning 1-0 after a goal by Andrew Mangiapane, and the team is functioning as a whole, but then around 6 minutes-ish or so into the first period, Dylan Cousins gets a really lucky goal off a stuff and attempt, and I mean, there's not really much that Markstrom could have done there. It's just a lucky goal for the Sabres, and the game is now tied. Then 2 minutes later, Rasmus Dahlin cuts to get open, and then he scores a really beautiful goal, and all of a sudden, Buffalo is leading 2-1. Crazy turn of events that get even crazier when the Flames get a power play and Vinny Hinostroza clears the puck out of the zone, but it's not really a hard shot to get it into Calgary's defensive zone. I mean, the puck is just gliding near the blue line, but Mackenzie Weegar is sluggish, giving Casey Middlestat with a burst of speed. A breakaway shorthanded, and then a nice backhand bar down goal for a 3-1 Sabres lead. Now, I'm not going to continue narrating the game because that would just be dull and boring, but this is basically when Daryl Sutter is like, okay, this is enough, we're pulling Markstrom, he's done for the night. And then yeah, Markstrom basically ended his night letting in 3 goals off 12 shots, and right now he has an .862 save percentage, so he's obviously not playing so well. But here's why some will have to defend Markstrom. Recently, Peter Labardi was on the Sportsnet Today 960 podcast and said this about Markstrom. I refuse to worry. He's not at his best. He'd definitely be the first to tell you that right now. It's early in the year. I think some of that concern is compounded by how the season ended, end quote. This quote is really interesting to see because I will be fair, Jacob Markstrom really hasn't had a lot of help in the early going stages of the season. He's oftentimes being let out by his fellow skaters to die, which can sort of explain why he hasn't been able to make those glove saves or those remarkable pad stops that he was making last year. I'm sure he's panicking right now because his contract in essence is a ticking time bomb. He did great in the regular season last year. He wasn't as great in the playoffs, and now he's making the entire Flames fan base super impatient and upset. Lombardi kind of implies that Markstrom isn't looking to make any sort of excuse for his bad start, and that he isn't that type of player to do that. And we can also take into account that he took the blame for his play in last year's playoff series versus the Oilers, and I don't think there's anyone out there more aware of the situation than him when he isn't at his best. And you can certainly bet that he is that type of player who is going to do everything in his power to ensure he ups his game moving forward. With that being said, if this continues for much longer, then the Flames fans might want him out. The frustration from fans regarding Markstrom's performance as of late is justified, but those who are calling for Dan Vladar, the backup goaltender, to become the 1A of the tandem are making a judgment way too early. Vladar has way less experience than Markstrom. He's only played 30 games in his NHL career, and to put the entire Flames fans, the team, the entire Flames nation on his shoulders, he's gonna literally crap himself. I mean, it's way too soon to just give up on Markstrom like that. And remember, the Flames are 3-1-0. They are in perfectly good shape and they have no reason to make any sort of changes to their goaltending. And I know the numbers don't show a lot, but the Flames, they have tons of faith in their playmakers like Jonathan Huberdeau, Andrew Mangiapane, Nazem Kadri, Elias Lindholm, Tyler Toffoli, and Mackenzie Weegar, and so on and so on. And right now, Daryl Sutter, he should just be focused on continuing to throw his workhorse out there on a consistent basis and hope he can soon get back to last season's form. Again, it is way too early in the season, and it wouldn't come as a surprise if Markstrom was quickly able to put these doubts to bed with several great showings in net. As of right now, he's going to be the starter for the Flames against the Canes tonight, and he has a very good chance of proving the haters wrong. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about Markstrom, the Calgary situation, or Vladar. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a wonderful day.